crafters, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I'm coming to you with the latest Tonic Studios Craft Kit. I'm going to open it up, show you what's inside, and give you a little sampling of what you can make. I'm just opening it right now for the first time, and I see here that there's a little code that you can use that expires on the 18th, and that's for the little precision blender brushes. And if you want to grab a hold of those, that's really neat. It's Nuvo, Nuvo 999. So that's a fun little sale there. And those little brushes, of course, are for the ink blending that you can do. So this kit comes with card blanks, an entire package of them, and they are 7 by 7 inches. They are 111-pound cardstock. And the envelopes are 44-pound, of course, because those are thinner. They are bright white, and you can definitely get these from Tonic Studios directly. So nice big size. Not typical for the US, but still a lot of fun to work with. There's also here from Craft Perfect the dimensional foam pads. And these look to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. It says 2 millimeters. I think that's about the same thing. Nuvo product here. Here's the little chamois. This is for you to clean your stamps. All you have to do is moisten this, by the way, and you're able to take ink right off of your stamps and other tools, which is reuse, especially if you're into mixed media. So this month we get an entire or large ink pad here, and this is a hybrid ink. That means that you can heat emboss with it, and then you can also use it with other mediums to color. So it can be heat set onto glossy surfaces and fabrics. It's a permanent, fast drying ink, and it is waterproof and smudge proof. So very good quality. So let's go ahead and open this one. Is Safari Green. So it has a little the case you can grab there, and the sponge, if you see, it's quite high, so it's got a nice high profile and looks like it's nice and juicy there. So the other item available this time around is from Nuvo also, and this is a sample size, but this is the clear mark embossing pad. So there's no color to it, but it is meant for clear embossing, and of course you can use your embossing powders with that. So that's excellent. Speaking of embossing powders, here's a sample size, and this one happens to be this gorgeous, it's called Silver Moonlight, and it's a nice shimmery silver, very pretty color. And then there's a full-size Nuvo drop. This happens to be a crystal drop, so it's going to dry shiny, and it has a really pretty dome shape once it's dry. And the color is one of my favorites. It's called Wisteria Purple. Absolutely darling color, and that's not the color of the bottle, it's the actual color of the drop, which you can then water down if you want to and use as paint. So of course, let's take away the box now. You can see all of this is included in the kit. There's no tiers of you know, of supplies. Everyone gets the same thing. The only thing that might vary may be, for instance, the color of one of the Nuvo products, but this month I don't know that there's any variation in that. So this is called Assorted Frames, and here is the listing of the papers and all these supplies, of course, with a really pretty sample there. Then here is the little wallet that comes with the kit. Every kit has one, so you can add it to your little binders, and it has, of course, the dies. And then it has the stamps. So let's take a look at the stamps. They say thank you, never stop dreaming, love and hugs, well done, with love, you will be missed, or you'll be missed, I'm sorry. And it does have little flowers around some of these little sentiments. So really beautiful stamps there. The fonts are nice and clear, and so the size of each one of these is approximately 1.5 inches wide, and I think, let's see here, yes, so they're about 1.5 inch square for all of them, I believe. And speaking of which, then the die set here, cut out the background, and you can do that first. You can either cut out the square first out of your cardstock and then stamp onto it, or vice versa. So there are other sentiments included in this kit. I can't read this one, so I'll have to cut it out. And then this one says for a friend. And this one here, if I can look at it, I think it says just for you, I'm pretty sure. And then there's of course all of the different corners that you can use, leaves, flowers, and then here are the shadow pieces that coordinate with the corners that are here. And some shadow pieces are also for the sentiments. So very beautifully done. I'm going to add this sticker, which comes with every kit, which is wonderful because then you know exactly what's inside. So let's go ahead and add that. Assorted Frames. I always do it crooked. That's just my way, I guess. I'm consistent. All right, so there's the name. And then of course you can remove these from the backing and add them to magnets if that's your preference. But I find that they hold pretty well right in the little envelope. And of course I love to add the little insert, keep it in there. But let's go on to the papers so that we get to see what those are called. You can definitely use the codes that are available here to look it up on the site, and that way you're not guessing. It makes it a lot easier to shop. So I like to separate out the specialty cardstock from the Craft Perfect, the regular kind, if you will. And I see here that we have this gorgeous palette. I just love the pastels. So starting off here, there's the Ballet Pink Classic Card, linen weave on one side and smooth on the other. There's also Sugared Lilac. There is this beautiful, beautiful buttermilk yellow. That's one of my favorites. The green is Grass Green, aptly named. Is Fuchsia Pink. Such a pretty pink. If you haven't worked with this before, I highly recommend it. It's nice and vibrant and just a happy color. And then this happens to be Fresh Mint. It's a pearlescent card, so it's got a beautiful sheen to it on both sides. And this is a heavier card. This is, I think, 90 pound or 80 pound cardstock. And then also in the pearlescent color, there's Pearl White. Very beautiful, both sides. And then the glitter card here, which you can use with just about anything, is Sugar Crystal. And it's got a bit of a holographic feel to it when it captures the light. So it's very nice with all of these pretty colors, as you can see here. It's just a nice soft palette that you can work with. And I was suggesting that it works well with the So Happy papers. If you are familiar with those, they were launched with some sewing theme dies from Tonic Studios. So if you have those, you're going to be able to use them with these as well. And of course it comes with a little folder here so that you can keep your papers nice and safe. Very nice. And I'm going to cut out a few of these papers and come back with a sample, and we'll make that together. I'll be right back. Using the clear mark embossing pad, I've gone ahead and used every single one of the stamps onto the Ballet Pink cardstock. I'm then taking that excess embossing powder and placing it right back into the container, and I have plenty left. Then I'm just going to heat set this, and you'll see in a minute what they all look like. They're absolutely beautiful. Now, using the low tack adhesive from Tonic Studios, I was able to cut out the sentiments. They read, "Never Stop Dreaming," "Love and Hugs," and the shine is just spectacular. You can see there are little leaves, swirls, and flowers. This one reads, "Well Done." It's a really beautiful, nice font for the space. The next one says, "You'll Be Missed." And also there's another one that reads, "Thank You." And that one has all those pretty little flowers that you can use. So I've gone ahead and separated the dies, as you see here. There are the shadow pieces and then the intricate pieces in the center. I did the same thing over here. So these are the corner pieces that you can use, and then this one as well, which is the longest one. This is the only one that doesn't have that sort of L shape. And then along with that are the 3 sentiments with shadows, the little square, and 2 leaves with a shadow as well. There's a large, a medium, and a small that you can definitely layer together. And as far as the cutout sentiments, I didn't cut out the shadows just yet, but this one says for a friend. This one says you're invited. And the font is really nice and delicate and pretty. And then the third one says just to say. And it's all swirly and pretty as well. So there's that one. So nice. And of course, having the shadow is just super. I love it when Tonic includes the shadows to the sentiments. Now, oh, there's another flower I forgot about. There's this one here with all the little dots. I think it's so pretty. So there's 4 flowers, not 3. So here's what I did. I cut out all the corners in the solid, which I did use the glitter cardstock that came in the kit. So I cut it out in the solid, and then I cut it out with its little matching inlay piece. So you get to see there what those look like. Absolutely stunning. And of course you can layer one on top of the other if you want. I'll be showing you a sample. Then there's this one with the rose. It's gorgeous. Very elegant and very pretty. If you're into shabby, this is right up your alley. Then here's this one, which is stunning. It almost looks like it has a little heart there in the corner. So you can imagine those two together, just a very small little place for a sentiment or a picture. Will create gorgeous frames, of course, and you may have already seen other samples, so if I'm repeating something, I apologize, but here's this one, that one there, and this, of course, was compared to a musical note, and I can see why. It's just so very pretty. And then here's the one that doesn't have a curve, and I don't know about you, but I see a little bee in the middle, and that would look adorable with little bees right on top. So I went ahead and cut a few of those. Now what I'm going to do is that I've cut out some pieces and I'm going to assemble a card with you. The first thing that I'm going to do is to color the background, which is actually going to be this pink piece of paper because I'm going to make some flowers out of it. So here what I'm doing is I'm sprinkling lilac waterfall shimmer powder onto the ballet pink cardstock. I'm also spraying this with a mixture of water and alcohol that I have. Here you see the result, and this paper is actually still a little bit humid, and using that I'm going to go ahead and layer the flowers that I'll be cutting using the die set. And because the paper is still humid, it's going to allow me to shape them. I'm just going to end up pinching these a tiny little bit. I'm not really going to use any other tools, but once those are complete, I'll use them in my project. For the first card that I'm going to share with you, I'm using the 7 by 7 inch base. And then I'm also using the pearlescent green cardstock that came in the kit. And I've created a frame that is about an inch wide all the way around. All I did was place it on my paper cutter, and using the one line, I cut away from the center on all 4 sides, and that allowed me to create this frame that I'm now going to adhere using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. This is a great way to stretch your paper. And here I'm using the lilac paper that came in the kit. I'm placing that on top, and using one of those beautiful corners, I've measured out another piece of paper that is going to be the backdrop for these pieces. Now, as you can tell, I'm using the deluxe adhesive to layer one on top of the other. This is going to create a square frame, or it's a bit of a rectangle, but what I'm doing is using the grid that you see in the background to make sure that the corners are perpendicular. I'm placing the deluxe adhesive and then matching one corner to the next to create this beautiful frame that I'm now going to back up using this lavender colored vellum that I just happen to have in my stash. I figured this would be a great way to make a bit of a monochromatic card using the colors that were already available in the kit, as well as items that I had in my stash. Now, what I'm doing here is overlapping the vellum as I did with the glitter cardstock, only now I'm going to remove the portions that would overlap so that I don't get a darker center in some of these pieces. So as you can see there, you can either cut it away or place it on there first and then cut away what you don't need. It depends on what you're comfortable with, of course. And at the end, there's of course two pieces that overlap, and all I did was cut away the circular portion there, then adding the adhesive only on the center for now. I'm placing this onto that pearlescent green cardstock that I had cut away from the larger frame. Now, using two more corners, these are the ones with the roses, I decided to cut away the little swirly bit, layer these onto the same lavender color vellum that I have, only placing adhesive where I need it because I'm also going to be only using that portion that will be the backdrop of that gorgeous rose. So using my Tim Holtz scissors, I'm just going to cut off what I don't need, and now I'm going to actually layer behind this another leaf that comes in this kit. It's actually the largest of the two leaves, and that's going to create a little bit of a backdrop to the largest leaf on this die cut piece, and that way it's not just one piece of white paper. It has a little bit of lavender behind it and a little bit of that green. So I'll be repeating that on the opposite corner, and that's going to extend the frame on this card. And last but not least, the rest of this is going to be the assembly of those gorgeous little flowers. I was so happy with the results of that because it gave me so much shimmer. And of course, as I mentioned prior, the paper was still a little bit humid. So once it dried, my paper had this wonderful texture, and I barely had to manipulate it to be able to get it to have a nice shape. And I just got all that beautiful glimmer. In the end of this video, you'll see the pictures, and it looks so beautiful close up. So here I'm using also more of that pearlescent green paper. I didn't want it to go to waste, so I did cut a few more leaves out of that, and that's going to go along with those flowers. And the little swirls I had cut away from the corner pieces that have the rose, I didn't want those to go to waste either, so I just added them to my sentiment. And this one reads, "With love." I'm adding more flowers on the opposite side. And so I'm doing basically a trio of flowers, on each corner. I'm adding one little flower here on this little corner of the sentiment, and it does have a layer of 3. And then I'm adding the same number of leaves on opposite sides, and this just creates balance, visual balance on the card. And I've also decided to grab a Nuvo marker and color in those little flowers in the center and finish this off with the crystal drops in Wisteria Purple, which were included in the kit. I love the color. This is just absolutely beautiful, and I love the shine and just the fact that it matches everything perfectly. So now I'm going to show you actually a second card. This one I decided to pair up with one of the Slimline dies from Tonic Studios. I took the corner piece and I cut into that purple cardstock that you see in the background. And there you see I cut it again out of that beautiful glitter cardstock, the very same shape. And behind it I had already placed the purple vellum to create a shadow, and then I placed just, it's about 1/8 of an inch thick adhesive, and it is foam adhesive, and that's all around the perimeter and also on certain portions there so it doesn't fall or cave in, if you will. And here I'm using the little sentiment. It says "Never Stop Dreaming." I did pop that up using the dimensionals available in the kit against another piece of that pink cardstock that I had sprinkled the shimmer powder onto. Sorry, I forgot the name of it for a second. And so it gave me a little bit of a frame. And if you notice, the background is actually another one of those 7x7 pieces of cardstock. I just cut it down to allow me to have one of these mini slimline cards. And to top it off, I'm using the same leaves from the kit. I'm just staggering them and creating just a little bit of a cascade effect here. And it's going to match that little corner on the bottom there because it's the same color. And if you notice, the edges also have glitter paper. That's from the Slimline set. And I decided also to use the little butterflies from that set. All I did was cut them out from that same ballet pink paper that I had sprinkled the shimmer powder onto. And last but not least, I've added the Nuvo drops again. And I'm so very happy with the options that I have with this kit, as well as all of the other ones from Tonic Studios. There is such a variety of different cards that you can make, as well as other projects. And in fact, I think I'm going to use some of those other corners that I have left over on a different project. But I do hope that you have enjoyed this video, that you give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and as always, that you can be inspired and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching.